Across the sands of time, the wisdom of ancient philosophers continues to echo in our lives today. Plato, the great student of Socrates and teacher of Aristotle, offered profound insights on life, virtue, and the human soul. One of Plato's most celebrated lessons reminds us that the greatest battle we face is within ourselves. This timeless truth inspires us to seek self-control and harmony in a world often full of distractions. Join us on this journey to uncover more wisdom from one of history's greatest minds. Excellence is not a gift, but a skill that takes practice. You can discover more about a person in an hour of play than in a year of conversation. For a man to conquer himself is the first and noblest of all victories. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a harder battle. Never discourage anyone who continually makes progress, no matter how slow. In seeking perfection, we often miss the beauty of what we already have. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. A good decision is based on knowledge and not on numbers. You can educate a fool, but you cannot make him think. If a man neglects education, he walks lame to the end of his life. No one is more hated than he who speaks the truth. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. You should not honor men more than truth. If you do not take an interest in the affairs of your government, then you are doomed to live under the rule of fools. Wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something. An empty vessel makes the loudest sound, so they that have the least wit are the greatest babblers. I am the wisest man alive, for I know one thing, and that is that I know nothing. Any man may easily do harm, but not every man can do good to another. The one who learns and doesn't practice is like the one who plows and never plants. The right question is usually more important than the right answer. There is no harm in repeating a good thing. Thinking is the talking of the soul with itself. Opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. There are two things a person should never be angry at: what they can help and what they cannot. Reality is created by the mind. We can change our reality by changing our mind. When you feel grateful, you become great and eventually attract great things. True friendship can exist only between equals. Music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. Human behavior flows from three main sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge. The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. The fool wonders, the wise man asks. There is in every one of us, even those who seem to be most moderate, a type of desire that is terrible, wild, and lawless. At the touch of love, everyone becomes a poet. The beginning is the most important part of the work. No wealth can ever make a bad man at peace with himself. Courage is knowing what not to fear. Do not train a child to learn by force or harshness, but direct them to it by what amuses their minds. Poverty doesn't come because of the decrease of wealth, but because of the increase of desires. No man should bring children into the world who is unwilling to persevere to the end in their nature and education. There are three classes of men: lovers of wisdom, lovers of honor, and lovers of gain. If silence be good for the wise, how much better for fools? Good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around the laws. Knowledge without justice ought to be called cunning rather than wisdom. Excess of liberty, whether it lies in state or individuals, seems only to pass into excess of slavery. False words are not only evil in themselves, but they infect the soul with evil. The measure of a man is what he does with power. People are like dirt. They can either nourish you and help you grow as a person, or they can stunt your growth and make you wilt and die. The madness of love is the greatest of heaven's blessings. We are twice armed if we fight with faith. The heaviest penalty for declining to rule is to be ruled by someone inferior to yourself. Only the dead have seen the end of war. Ignorance, the root and stem of every evil. Those who tell the stories rule society. Education is teaching our children to desire the right things. A fool flatters himself, a wise man flatters the fool. Any fool can make a rule, and any fool will mind it. The object of education is to teach us to love what is beautiful. Those who are able to see beyond the shadows and lies of their culture will never be understood, let alone believed, by the masses. A house that has a library in it has a soul. Knowledge, which is acquired under compulsion, obtains no hold on the mind. Death is not the worst. That can happen to men. hero is born among 100. A wise man is found among 1,000, but an accomplished one might not be found even among 100,000 men. The man who finds that in the course of his life he has done a lot of wrong often wakes up at night in terror. Of all the animals, the boy is the most unmanageable. We do not learn, and that what we call learning is only a process of recollection. He who commits injustice is ever made more wretched than he who suffers it. Better a little, which is well done, than a great deal imperfectly. As the builders say, the larger stones do not lie well without the lesser. No one is a friend to his friend who does not love in return. When the mind is thinking, it is talking to itself. To suffer the penalty of too much haste, which is too little speed. The man who makes everything that leads to happiness depends upon himself and not upon other men, has adopted the very best plan for living happily. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. No one ever teaches well who wants to teach, or governs well who wants to govern. Hardly any human being is capable of pursuing two professions or two arts rightly.